What's going on, guys? DrumQuig podcast episode 25. We're just cranking them out left and right, and I've got a bearded brother here with me. You can't ignore what you're seeing on the screen. Um, and it makes sense because coming from a band like Big Sky, we had to have a big beard. So please welcome Sean Crowley. How you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing, Matt? Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely. So I'm going to get right into it. I saw you guys because of Bill Murray, and I
Yes.
want to know how on earth that came about because we have to get right into it because what an amazing experience, but you guys put on one hell of a show. So talk about how that came together.
Thank you so much. So kind of going back a long ways, we had a road manager named Chris Seeley when I was in the band from my first time I was in the band from 98 to 2000. And he is now working with Bill Murray as kind of like an assistant, handles some of his marketing, some of his golf tournament arrangements. I think he was kind of road managing the Blood Brothers for the show you saw.
Mm-hmm.
And so he does all kinds of things for Bill. So he kind of got us into doing a couple of his golf tournaments the past couple of years.
Sweet.
So we got to play those. And then I don't know when we found out about the Blood Brothers shows, but we were asked to do them last December and we jumped on it, and then they had to cancel for whatever reason. And then they rescheduled them for April, and there it is. We got to open for Bill Murray and the Blood Brothers.
What an incredible thing. Like you said, that connection from all those years ago and then coming full circle really with that, because when people hear Bill Murray, they don't think music. They don't think of him singing. They don't think of any of that. So you guys come out there, like, how did you put together the set list to kind of prepare for those 4 nights? Because you did 4 nights on that part of the tour, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. You saw us in Clearwater, right? And then we played, we did Clearwater, Fort Lauderdale, Jacksonville, and then had a day off and then went to Fort Myers. So,
wow.
Yeah. So
you guys went all over.
Yeah, the routing was horrible, and I was doing a lot of the driving, so I was exhausted.
My gosh.
Yep. But yeah, it was, I'm sorry, what was your question again?
How did you guys come up with the set list for just those 4 days? Because like you really had to kind of, I don't want to say dig deep, but we'll get into that in a second, but really, like, was it hard to pick the songs to kind of prepare for that, or was it just any other show?
It was sort of, we had to kind of think of the audience, and we kind of wanted to get a variety of the songs that we have, because we have some songs that have saxophone. We wanted to feature our sax player Dave Kurzman as much as possible.
Fantastic.
So that's why we did some songs of that. We wanted to do our more rockin' songs as well. So, but we didn't want to like we actually subbed a song out from our first night that you saw us, and put a more of a slower tune called Backlight for the rest of the shows, because we didn't feel that song kind of worked.
Okay.
For the crowd, but
yeah.
But so it's kind of, we just kind of had to feel it out. But I think we did a pretty good job in selecting the tunes, and it really wasn't too bad. We kind of swapped around our covers that we did for encores and stuff. So that kind of worked out. That worked out well. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the band, you go back with Big Sky, band formed in 1993. There's been, quite a few, it seems like, kind of movement around it. And you had mentioned, your first time in the band. So kind of talk about like the journey through the first time and coming back. And like I said, I've got my funny tidbit for you, and I'll save that for the end.
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny story. Well, it's funny to me, but so I was getting married in the summer of 98, and I get a phone, and I was in a band called Super Sugar with Big Sky sax player. And so I had a little connection with those guys. We used to open up for them. So I kind of knew them a little bit. But around May, I think, April or May of 98, I got a call asking me to join the band. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. So I went ahead and joined, and then I got married, went on a honeymoon, and then immediately joined the band and went on the road for 2 years.
My God.
So it was recordings, being on the road. I mean, we played 150 to 200 shows a year. I mean, we were busy those 2 years. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. It was nuts. It was fun though. It was great. Yeah. So yeah, I was in the band for a couple years, and then we weren't making much money. Like I said, I had gotten married, so that was kind of, catching up, and kind of had to get back to real life. So I just left, and I actually continued with the band a little bit longer, doing some recordings. And then I just finally, they got another drummer in, and then I just kind of went on my merry way and went back to school, and, all that good stuff. So but I had a great run, had a lot of fun, definitely an amicable split. They ended up going until 2006, and then they kind of broke up. And then around, 2000, I don't know, 12 or 13, they got a call to do like a reunion type show, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. At the Social down in Orlando. It used to be the Sapphire Supper Club, where we recorded the live album.
Okay, yeah, so the Social, I've been there, yeah, it's a
Yeah,
fantastic venue.
yeah, it's one of our favorite venues that we used to play. So
Ugh,
I think it might have been a private party even, and so we were asked to play that. We ended up getting together, and then we was like, wow, this is a lot of fun. We're all kind of spread out, but we figured, maybe we can try to keep doing this occasionally, and that's what we've been doing since.
and that's crazy. So the reunion basically, like, somebody else asked you to do it. It wasn't even like you guys were like, "Hey, let's do this." Like, someone else asked, and then you guys went, "That's not a bad idea."
I think I could be wrong. The guys will probably give me crap about it, but I feel like there was some sort of party or something, or some group that wanted us to play there. I can't remember, but that's how I'm remembering it.
Yeah.
But it was a blast though. It was a fun show, and it was so great to be, to play with those guys again. And it's just like today. It's awesome that we all still get along and can get together and play these shows.
What a turn of events though. Like, seriously, everything about that and how it worked out. Of course, I'm gonna bring up on the website, it says you were replaced with the drum machine when you quit the band.
Yeah,
So is that just like a funny inside joke? Like, what happened there?
that's a total inside joke. Yeah. Yeah, because what happens is sometimes I won't be able to rehearse, and our guitar player Chris will throw an animated GIF of a old drum machine into our little text group, and he'll give me crap about it. So that's kind of his little joke to me.
Love it. Cause I was like, I read that and I'm like, well, I
Yeah.
just watched him play in the band. So clearly
Yes.
that's not the case.
No, no, no drum machines here.
No, absolutely not. We talk about, going back, 1998, like, where did drums start for you? Because clearly it started well before that, in a
Yeah.
sense that you were already in a band, you were already opening for Big Sky. So, like, where did drums start for you in your life?
I started when I was, geez, I must have been 10, fifth grade. Probably like a lot of kids, took up snare drum in bands. I did all went up through the ranks and did, marching band, jazz band, all that kind of stuff. And then I started to get some professional gigs in town with a couple of actually my dad's friends. One of our choral director at my old high school used to bring me in on shows and little gigs and little piano type bar type things I used to do, and make
Awesome.
$50 or something. So that was kind of fun. And then I pretty much started like doing a lot of playing when I moved to Fort Lauderdale back in, geez, 89. I joined a reggae band when I was going to, I went to the Art Institute down in Fort Lauderdale, which is, we had that our program similar to Full Sail.
Wholesale. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So, a lot of musicians there. Ended up hooking up with a reggae band, and my roommate, Wayne, was the guitar player with them. So that was probably my first professional band that I worked with. And then from there I joined, a bunch of other bands, played all over Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and then ended up coming up to Gainesville, 94, and playing with Super Sugar, which is where I met Dave Kurzman, our sax player with Big Sky. And then I don't know if he got me into the band or who did, but that's how my name got leaked into their camp. And so yeah, I've been playing for a long time, playing a lot of different styles of music, playing with a lot of different interesting situations. One of the couple interesting ones I did in Fort Lauderdale was I worked with one of the guys from Menudo, Sergio. I did some demo recordings with him, and was gonna go on the road with him, and that ended up not panning out. But that turned into, geez, doing a series of shows with Maria Conchita Alonso, who's an actress. I don't know if you've ever
Hmm.
heard of her.
The name sounds familiar.
She was in Running Man and some other movies.
Yeah, yeah.
Moscow on the Hudson. Yeah. So
I love Running Man. I'm sorry.
through
That almost sidetracked us completely.
yeah, but through my connection through the little Menudo session I did, I got that gig of doing 4 shows with her in Miami, and I was going to be part of this little like tour they were going to do, but that ended up not panning out. So, but yeah, it's just, and then I ended up doing some talent gigs for Univision and Telemundo where I would lip sync playing drums and bass and percussion on TV shows.
What? What?
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah. All through my connection with the guy that got me the Menudo sessions or the Sergio session.
Oh my
Um,
God. Now I
there was
gotta find those. That's a deep dive. I gotta find that.
the 90s were a weird time for me.
I would say me too, but I was growing up in the
I was gonna say
90s.
you're
So
young. Yeah, I bet.
88. Come on now.
Okay. Okay.
But I also went to see Bill Murray and looked around and was one of the younger people in the crowd that night.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was an interesting crowd. They were great though. We were all surprised at the reception we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really into it. When we did, we were doing mostly originals, and Bill was doing a lot of covers. Obviously,
Yeah.
it was just kind of cool to see them react to our originals and to kind of get into it, and got a lot of great feedback.
Yeah. And like I said, being there and not knowing the body of work very well, it was kind of fun. It was like stumbling across, like when you're walking down the street and you hear music playing
Yeah,
and you're like, what is that? And you just kind of like dive in and you're like, oh, let's see what this is. I always try to get there first because some of the best bands I've ever seen have been the bands that open for the bands I was there to go see.
yes,
Because
yeah,
I feel like there's like it's not a sense to prove yourself, but you're responsible for kind of getting the crowd going. Like, I feel like that's kind of on you because you can't just like do whatever and leave. Like, oh, it's
yeah,
our gig. So it was quite the experience, and seeing the sax, and of course, I believe he pulled out the electric sax at one point. If I'm not like, he
yeah,
got fancy.
yeah. He's got the Iwi. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a fairly new one that he's. I mean, I guess he's had it for a little bit, but that's the first time I had ever seen him play it. It was a kind of a Roland unit, but yeah, it was awesome. It was so cool.
It's only the second time I've ever seen one of those, so that's why I knew what it was. I was like, oh hey, I know what this is.
Nice. Yeah, he can do all kinds of stuff with that thing. It's, you
That's
know,
crazy.
yeah,
I mean, we could talk about weird instruments all day, but we're here to talk about drums. So, as far as you go, like you said, starting at 10 years old, being in marching band, like, who were the drummers that ended up influencing you over the years? Because it seems like, you played reggae, you played some way different stuff than what you're playing
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Where were those influences and how have they shifted over the last, let's say, 20 years at this point? Because music has changed drastically as I'm
big time.
staring at the Chili Peppers poster that we talked about before.
Yes, my old Chili Peppers poster. I mean, my first influences were probably. I mean, Stuart Copeland was probably my biggest.
Mm.
I would say, and Neil Peart, huge, and yeah, there you go.
I did not plan that. That just happens to be there,
Nice,
but
nice placement.
I am meeting him next month, so that's super exciting. We'll talk about that later.
Oh,
But
that's awesome.
obviously, Neil.
Yes, and John Bonham. I was my dad had a great record collection, so he had a lot of Zeppelin, and I just ate that stuff up. And then probably like from my very young years, when I first started out, like even Ringo, like because I used to sit with this tiny little record player in my room and put on Sergeant Pepper's and bang away on this old Gretsch champagne sparkle kit that a friend of ours had.
Everybody had one of those. Everybody, like,
Yeah, it was great. I wish I still had it.
oh my God.
Yeah. But
You talk. It's funny with Ringo because Ringo always gets a lot of flack, but Ringo could play things that other people can't.
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of people can play what Ringo can. That's not
yeah,
under debate. But there were certain things he did, and it's just like Charlie Watts. when Charlie Watts played with the Stones, he did this weird thing with his elbow,
Yeah.
and it created this weird timing that if you didn't do that, it wouldn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
And I feel like, Ringo, the running joke is always Ringo wasn't even the best drummer in the Beatles,
Yeah. Oh, that's
which is
yeah.
mean, but it gets said a lot. So
Yeah.
it's cool to hear, like, watch the old footage, and he's got like this much room behind him on the riser, and he's having to play without falling straight back. And
Yeah.
you don't really realize how much work he had to put in. So
Yeah. On this rickety stool,
yeah,
that he used to use.
we got to see him a few years ago in Clearwater when he did the All-Star Band,
Nice.
and it
Okay.
had him and Greg Bissonette playing, and
Oh,
yeah, and I love Greg.
yeah, he's great.
So Ringo would play a couple songs and he would disappear for like 5 songs. I'm like, the dude is napping. He's in his
Yeah.
80s. Like, he just wants to take a nap. Like just let him go.
Yeah.
So
He was so good. He serviced the songs, and that's something that I struggled with when I first really got into, playing bigger gigs, like when I'm with this band Napoleon Solo, which was a funk band that I joined after playing reggae with this Mystic Rhythm band, and because I was all over the place, and I played like a madman, fills and just crazy, crazy, crazy. But then I learned to calm down, and I just learned that keep it simple.
so obviously Copeland, huge
Yeah.
influence.
Yep.
Bonham, Pert.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to have that debate. I know how they said it. I'm always going to say Neil Peart. It's just going to be there.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
always in there.
Yeah.
I feel like Bonham doesn't get a lot of love, but he got a weird, in my mind, and I'm probably going to be the only one who gets this, but there's a clip in Step Brothers where he just yells, John Bonham's playing Moby Dick for real. And I was like, I get that. And we saw Kashmir, the Led Zeppelin cover band, play, and they played Moby Dick, and he's playing with sticks. And I went, no. And he gets to the part where he switches to hands and he threw the sticks. And I was like,
Wow.
he's doing it.
Oh, wow.
So,
nice.
absolutely love that.
That's awesome.
Funk, jam band funk, we've talked before how jam band kind of gets a bad name because it just seems like people playing music indiscriminately. And I feel like the jam band funk scene has kind of just grown so much over the last few years where it's become, it's going to be a 25-minute long song live.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you get it.
Yeah.
It's coming. Like,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
not surprised by it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that it's weird how the influences have shifted because, going through, Copeland's always been on my top 5. And then you guys like Carter Beauford,
But yeah,
Lars
he's
Ulrich,
amazing.
Metallica, of course.
Yeah.
Neil, and then Mike Portnoy. Portnoy's
there you
always
go.
going to be,
Yeah.
the guy. And I was watching one of the Drumeo videos the other day, and, they were talking about, they said, without Lars, there is no Metallica. And I realized I felt that way for so long about Dream Theater, and then he got replaced, and it felt weird.
Yeah.
So you're going to be kind of one of the first people to kind of spark this debate. Like, is there a point where a band like loses so many original members that they can still call themselves the band? Like, is there a moment where it's like, if there's only one original guy left, are you still that same band, or has that changed into a new kind of perspective?
It's like, what is it? A Foreigner? Like they've got what Mick Jones, and
I was going to say Foreigner.
If he's even there, it's like,
Well, and of course the Rush debate came up a lot of the time. And, because now Rush is not only new drummer, we have a 4th person in the band playing keys. Rush has always been a trio, regardless of who was in it, whether it was Rutsey, Pert, or now, Niles, and I can't ever remember the keyboard player's name because I'm a drummer. Because that's
I don't know either.
So it kind of sparked a debate that my dad and I had yesterday. So we're going to bring up that topic a couple more times just because it's a fun one. But, you talk about those guys being the early influences. Were there any later influences as you started to play more gigs and started to kind of, I don't want to say find your sound, because as a drummer, you find where the money is sometimes. Like, you're like, this works. I like how this sounds. Like, here we go.
Oh, I've got all kinds, and I don't know if they influenced me hugely, but like I have always loved Steve Smith from Journey and Gene Hoglan for metal stuff. Like, I saw him with Strapping Young Lad in Tampa.
My gosh.
And I was blown away.
I'm jealous of that one. I mean, I got to see Devin Townsend with the Devin Townsend Project, but not Strapping Young Lad. I mean, Gene Hoglan, we just talked about, like, a bigger guy doing some crazy double bass stuff.
with boots on. His combat boots. I don't know if he still wears them, but yeah, he's amazing. But yeah, like guys like him, like Will Calhoun from
Mm.
Living Color was, I really got into him for a while. And
They
even
just announced another tour.
yeah, yeah, I follow them, kind of keep up with them still because man, I used to love them. I saw them a couple times in Fort Lauderdale when I was living down there back in the day, and it's so good. But Phil Collins, I always really liked him a lot. And I'm trying to think some recent guys. I love I don't know why I'm forgetting. Lamb of God.
Chris Adler, their
Well,
original drummer,
yeah,
or
Chris Adler and why am I forgetting his name?
Art Cruz.
Art Cruz. Yes, those guys are great. I love them. Yeah, they're tight.
I can't tell you how many. I think I almost broke my Modern Drummer 2005 festival that had Adler and Bittner because you're just
Yes,
watching him play the floor tom and
Shadows Fall. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah,
like, my God,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and it's just the sound he got from that. And it's a weird kind of thought process in my head, but last week my dad and I we went to Spinelli Drums. John Spinelli knows everybody that we've ever seen, apparently. And thanks to him, I got to see Dave Weckl again after 25
So
years.
awesome. Yeah.
And he shows us one of his toms, and it's a 14-inch tom, and it's about this thick. And I was like, why do you have a snare on your tom rack? And he hit it, and I was blown away that it was actually a tom. And I couldn't believe the sound that had come out of it. And it's like the way they're tuned and the way that the hardware is on there. And it just, when I see, Chris Adler doing those double fills when he's just doubling back and forth on those two floor toms, I just think
Yeah.
of that and I'm like, my gosh.
Yeah. He's so good. So good.
Ugh, it was terrible when he left because I felt like him and Willie were the band.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from Randy or Art for that matter, because Art's a
Yeah.
fantastic drummer too.
Yeah.
But the last like 5 years and the drummer shifts have been so strange,
Hmm.
where everybody's just going everywhere, and like the whole like Josh Freese and
Yes. Yeah. With Foo Fighters and Nine Inch Nails and yeah. Yeah.
how all that worked because I was lucky enough to see Nine Inch Nails in February with Josh.
Wow.
And it was just, I'm just watching him and I'm like, he's having a blast. They played like punk ass music. They played their metal stuff. They played, anything that they could really pull out of there. And Josh was just having a blast. So when I saw, that whole Foo Fighters thing, like I feel like we're never going to really know what happened in the end. Everybody seems to have a different story on it. But for a guy who's been a drummer for multiple bands for 40 years and never be kicked out of a band or
Yeah.
asked to leave a band kind of says something about his character too. So
Yeah.
that's a whole nother tangent.
Yeah. I would love to hear the whole story behind that, which will never probably come out, but if there is a story,
Yeah.
but because it just seems so, he's such a good drummer and seems like such a good guy, from what I've seen. So
He's
you know,
just versatile, playing with
yes.
the Vandals, A Perfect Circle.
Yeah.
And it's like when we went to the Sasanta tour where it was Primus, Pussifer, Perfect Circle,
Mm,
and they were literally just shifting drummers. So Hoffman's going over and playing with A Perfect Circle and Freese was playing with Primus. And I was just like,
yeah.
I don't know how to handle this.
Overload.
It's a lot. And it's funny. I look at all the posters on your back and I think about like the ones here, like I have the Primus, but then I
Yeah.
have the Aristocrats, Marco Miniman, insane. And then I have Pigeons playing ping pong and then Dream Theater Pictures.
Nice.
Like it's a wide variety of what's going on. So now I know how old that poster is on your back wall, that Chili
Yeah.
Pepper. Like talk about that. Like was that a show that you went to 35, 40 years ago? Or was it just a poster that you acquired? Like now I've got to know the story behind it.
Oh, no, this was actually the reason why I kind of still have this is it was so in my band Napoleon Solo, we were basically Chili Peppers. That's what kind of band it was. We were so like that band and they were already established and they kind of brought me in and I started to dress crazy and we were all like the Chili Peppers, but we had that poster on our wall in our rehearsal space and that was back in 90, 91, 92.
Wow.
So I kept that poster and I've always had it and I just framed it and I've just kind of had it hanging around. So it just reminds me of a kind of a good point, a really fun musical point in my life. So, because that was a great band, playing with those guys and played some good
Absolutely.
shows, and I did see the Chili Peppers. I think I saw them on Lollapalooza when they came to, was it Miami? With, like, I think Soundgarden was in that one, and Ice Cube
Man.
and Ministry, and yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, and Pearl Jam, that's right, Pearl Jam was in it.
Oh,
Yep.
that's a good topic. I don't think they've announced it yet who their new drummer is, but I saw one of the articles that said their original drummer would be open to coming back. I want to say
Okay. Oh, wow.
Dave. Why am I
Cru
gonna?
Is it Cruisin' or
Yeah, yeah,
Cruise
yeah.
something like that? Yeah, I can't remember.
But I've also heard
Wow.
some rumblings that good old Jane's Addiction drummer Stephen Perkins,
Yeah, Stephen Perkins, yeah. Oh, he's great.
and I'm not a Dave Cruisin. Sorry, Dave, if you're
Cruisin',
watching
yeah.
this. Which if you're watching this, like,
Yeah.
thanks.
Oops.
Yeah, if somebody we had that with somebody, and they were like, he interchanged ship and boat, and I was like, man, if somebody comes on the show and literally like calls you out for that, I said I'll be thankful. Like, I'll be thankful. But yeah, I think that would be a really interesting kind of dynamic because Matt Cameron's so versatile
Yeah,
in
yeah.
anything he
He's
did,
so good.
and it was weird to see him leave. Like that kind of felt like one of those crushing blows where you're like, ooh,
Yeah,
now what
yeah,
do we do? So
yeah. Yeah, I got to see him play with Soundgarden and down
so
south, and
jealous.
yeah, he was so good. Yeah, really enjoyed watching those. I think it was King's X opened up for them or something, or kind of a weird show, but man, King's X was amazing. That's another band that is just, I saw them open for Pearl Jam too, and they were just, man,
Jeez,
awesome band.
King's X.
Yeah.
Now it's making me think of Symphony X, and I know Symphony X is doing new music, and I'm excited about that. But that's all. Again, the only thing they have in common is the X part.
Yeah,
that's,
exactly.
that's completely different. You talk about some of those shows. Do you remember like the first show you went to, like
Yeah.
where you saw drums on like the big stage, and you were like, "Oh my god, like this is it."
Oh yeah, and it was kind of a it was I got tickets for my birthday. I think it was my 15th birthday, 14th birthday, and it was to go see Duran Duran.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was the Seven and the Ragged Tiger album. I think that was the tour, and they were amazing. And that was the first like big, show I'd ever been to. And then I saw Rush like not too long after
Mm,
that, because I saw Grace Under Pressure tour
okay.
and up in Maine, and then I saw the
Close
Power
enough.
Windows tour.
Power Windows tour was 84, 85.
Yeah. Yep.
That was my dad's first Rush show. So that
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, I know exactly when that is."
Yeah. 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 And those shows were just, man, I was the lasers and Neil's kit and like the stage, and I was just in awe of the whole thing. It was so cool.
I can't imagine being, when I saw Rush for the first time was 2012, and I was, gosh, was it 2012? Yeah, I was 24, if that. And we saw them again in 2015 when they did their last tour.
Okay. Nice.
But I got
Wow.
to see both times I saw Rush with my dad, which was so cool. Just that full circle experience.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing as an adult to watch like a younger person like sing all the songs, but it was another to watch my dad singing every verse of and I'm like, this song I didn't even know existed. And so
That's awesome though.
it was so much fun to watch. And I was like, when Neil passed, that was a tough one. And we've talked about it on the show before. We're like, Neil's parents used to live in Palm Harbor, which is where I live. Like, literally, they lived, and I was like, so at any point in time in my life, there could have been a day where I drove past Neil, like, just drove past him on the road, like, no
Right.
big deal.
Oh wow.
And it's crazy
Yeah.
to think of that, going through. It's funny how your influences, the people who influence you younger, still have a big hold on you, but so much has changed, in 20, 30
Yeah.
years. And it's like you look at drummers a different way. And so, like, if you had to think of somebody in today's music who's kind of like caught your eye, like, is there somebody you can think of off the top of your head that would be kind of an unusual thing for you? Like, not something you normally listen to, but something that kind of stood out.
I mean, I saw Styx a couple of years ago, and with Todd Sucherman.
Oh my God,
If
Todd
that's
can.
I if that's how you say his last name, but man, he just blew me away. He was awesome. Like, I just love seeing guys that can just play like that and so effortlessly and bring the band to such bigger heights like he can.
Absolutely. And I know he's doing a master class. My dad lives up in Kentucky. He's doing a master class in a couple weeks. It's
Wow.
like a 2-night thing, and I'm like, and I had just missed the one down here.
Okay.
I would have just liked to have been in the same room with him. Like that's
Yeah.
that's kind of how I
Yeah.
felt about that.
Yeah. He seems like a good person too, from what the videos and stuff I've watched.
And
No, go
that's how
ahead.
I felt about Weckl. Like
Yeah.
I saw Weckl when I was, 11, 12 years old. To see Weckl this many years later, everybody do the math. He's still so loose
Yeah.
and he's just effortless. And that still blows my mind because it has that jazz funk element to it
Yes.
as well, where you're like, you see the metal guys, you see them doing crazy things and the blast beats and the gravity beats, the gravity blast and everything that's can be done. And everything Matt Garska does with Animals as leader, it's math drums is really
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
And then you see something like that and you're like, it's simple, but it's so complicated and I could never play that.
Yeah, I love watching guys that can do that though, because it just looks so effortless and it just flows. Like everything is just like, looks so easy, but it's not.
No, definitely not. So I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, like, what's next for Big Sky? Like, you guys had those 4 big dates. Don't really see anything else coming up that I've seen, but is there like a plan to kind of do like little spurts like that going forward? Or
Yeah, we're always like we have one show scheduled, but it's not until like November. We usually do like an annual show in Gainesville during football season.
okay,
And a lot of the guys were in the Chi Phi fraternity at University of Florida. So, a lot of their brothers are in town and so it's kind of a fun time getting everybody together. So we do these kind of annual shows and we're doing it at the Heartwood Soundstage here in Gainesville on I think it's what is that? November 6th, which is a Friday.
okay,
But other than that, we don't really have anything booked, but I've heard we have some things that are being worked on, but I really don't know. We live so kind of far apart. At least a couple of the guys are in South Florida. Me, Dave, Chris, and Mark are in Gainesville, but we all
okay,
work, so it's just kind of hard. It's kind of hard to do shows like we want to do
yeah.
with our schedules. And
And the driving right now, yeah,
yeah, but me and Chris and Dave, our bass player and our lead guitar player, we get together probably 2 or 3 times a month and practice and write, and we're still writing, and we're hopefully going to maybe do some recording again at some point here
heck yeah,
because we've got 4 songs that we recorded. Geez, it seems like 2 years ago that were never kind of finished. So hopefully they're going to be finished soon. And we actually played some of them at our shows that we did with Bill. So yeah, so we don't really have a lot on the plate, but we are looking at a couple things and we're just kind of still rehearsing and writing and just looking for the next thing coming up.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
you had mentioned it before, the live album that you guys did before
Yeah. Yeah.
being listed as 2008 on everything I found, but you said it actually happened in 2000, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's 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 been a little bit.
Yeah. June of 2000. And that was literally my last show with the band. Yeah. And I quit right after that. So I recorded a double, no, it wasn't a double album. It was a live album and then I left. So it was kind of a weird bummer situation, but it all worked out.
Yeah, but it sounds amazing. Knowing that it's even older
Thank you.
adds a lot more to it. Obviously, the men at work, like the way you guys
Yeah.
arranged that and how that worked.
Yes.
Because I've heard, when Ringo came, he had Colin Hay, and we've seen Colin Hay separately. To hear you guys play it and kind of put your own spin on it, and
Oh yeah.
my other half thought it was you. There was a little bit of a metal spin to it. She hates it because I'll be like, I said any song can be metal, and she's like, no, it can't. And then I'll sing something. She'll be like, I hate you. Like, no. Like sometimes it just works. And knowing that, Dee Snider wrote a bunch of Mariah Carey's music, like let's really talk about that and how like, metal gets underappreciated, but we've also, put the distinction that metal and jazz are basically the same thing. It's
Yeah.
an assault on your senses. It's just how much you can handle
Well, that's
that
funny.
really like
That is so true though.
I think at this point I need to get it on our t-shirts. Just be like, listen, it's exactly what it is because nobody's been able to really debate that.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be a great phrase to put on a shirt.
Yeah. Thank you for that seamless segue there.
Yeah,
As you guys have seen, and we talked about it a little bit before, repping my Stay Tuned record shirt, and specifically for this reason, yesterday they walked into the store and found the upstairs tenant had flooded. It destroyed thousands of dollars and basically in merchandise. And we know with a lot of that vinyl, some of that can't be replaced. It's one thing to be able to get the money for it. It's another to replace some of those things. And, I picked up Led Zeppelin 2 one of the last times I was in there. So I thought it
nice,
was really cool that you brought up Bonham
nice.
and, try to get out there and support them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link in the bio for everybody who's watching this. Go there and see if there's anything from the store that you can buy. Their online shop is still open. They've still got a lot of things. Try to support them while they're going through this because when we support these local stores, like it's kind of a big deal, and it's kind of been a refreshing thing kind of to go into the record store and have people, and it's not a diss on any other record store, but people my age running a record store is not something you see very often. And Doug and Amy are just really in tune with the people, what people are doing, what people want, and like how much of a crushing blow this is to them.
Yeah,
They just hit their 1 year anniversary. So to
wow.
have all this right now, it's heartbreaking. So on that note, I'll save this point for you to say, anything coming up. I know you said the November show,
Yeah.
and then we've got some things on the works. Is there any other things you want to kind of put out there or plug? Any other side projects that we don't know about?
No, I've been keeping pretty quiet and steady with Big Sky. I haven't really. I was doing some stuff with a local cover band for many years, but I'm just working now. I'm back to just the grindstone of my job, and that's all I kind of want to do. That and Big Sky. So I'm just hoping we kind of pick it up a little bit and pick up some steam and start doing a little more. Start doing some shows if we can kind of all get together and do them.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
yeah, if they're anywhere in between, I'll make it out. Because I
Yeah, I'd
mean,
love to
again,
have you.
you guys got a fan that night, and I know it's weird to say that about a band who's had a tenure as long as you guys, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. And it's so funny because my fiance was the one who ran up to you after the show and was like, "Hey, my fiance has a podcast," and I was like, "What are you doing?" It's like,
It was funny. I was telling my wife because she was asking, "Well, how did you get asked to do this?" And I kind of mentioned your fiance coming up to me, and when she asked me that, if I remember correctly, I was thinking she's talking about the band, not me. So I'm like, "Yeah, the band probably does it. Talk to Chris, he'll arrange it." And then I was like, "They want to talk to me? Okay,
yeah, I wanted. Yeah, because then I reached out to the band and I was like, I can't find Sean.
okay."
Like, where is he?
Oops, sorry.
No, and it's fine, but it was kind of one of those funny situations where, it obviously it worked out. Super excited to get the chance to talk to you, especially after, listening to more of the body of work after the fact and seeing, the originals and seeing like David Bowie. I love that song.
Great.
Love that song.
Yes, that's a
It's
good one.
so good
Yeah.
because there's so many different musical elements to it. And the drums take a back seat, but they're not invisible.
Hmm.
They're not like falling on deaf ears kind of thing. There's too many times where a simple drum beat overpowers what
Yeah.
they're trying to convey and you lose it. And it just
Yeah.
seems like it kind of just flows in there. So I had to get that out.
Yeah, that album is a great album, and it was mixed really well and mastered. And Kenny Nasta plays drums on that, and
Mhm.
he did an amazing. He was drumming with them at the time, and he's just an awesome drummer.
Well, you did it. I'm pretty sure did you guys play it? Now I'm like
Yeah,
double thinking. I was
yeah,
like, you guys did play it because I'm like, it
yeah,
was in my head when I left.
yeah, yeah. That was our second song, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
I'll have to go back.
yeah,
Um, And I'll kind of round out the rest of it. We always talk about not having tangible concert tickets. I'll have the link in the description as well, guys. Go there. Stub Forge, one of the best sites ever. Generally, because with the Bill Murray tickets, like I had ordered them for the December show and they
wow,
said, I'll just keep them. We're going to redo it in April. So my
awesome.
tickets say December on them, which is kind of weird when you try to look through them, chronologically.
Yeah, that is kind of odd.
So generally what I'll do a lot of the times is I go to StubForge and you can put in all the details of the concert ticket itself so that you can actually have a physical concert ticket. So it's something super cool. And then jerseys for drummers. I'm usually wearing the drummer jersey, Joe, but this time I got to give some love to Stay Tuned. So, Sean, it was absolutely a pleasure to have you, man. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much
much,
for
Matt.
taking the time. Hey, guys, wanted to take a quick second to let you know that the DrumQuig podcast will be at Florida Drum Fest, Sunday, September 2026. It's from 11 to 5 p.m. at the Lake Canyon Fairgrounds. Vendors, podcast, all kinds of stuff drums. So, coming out and support it. And meet yours truly. Hey guys, if you enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe to the DrumQuig podcast. Thank you so much.